Hey everybody, I'm Greg Gallant. I'm the CEO of Muckrack. It's great to be here, and thanks to everyone for joining me and the amazing panel we have in store. I think this is a great topic. I started Muckrack about 10 years ago, and over that time, I've gotten a front row seat to observe this shift where it used to be journalists just wrote their bylines at the publication. The publication was 100% the brand, and the journalist was secondary as a byline. Now it's almost flipped where the journalists are the stars. The byline really means a lot. The journalists have their own distribution thanks to social media. And now we've seen this huge trend just in the last few months of journalists really breaking out and starting their own newsletters, their own businesses, leveraging their brands. We've seen with Muckrack more journalists than ever creating profiles and keeping their portfolios on the site. So we really wanted to dig into this and share with everybody, how do you build a brand? And we've got two amazing experts here today who come from the world of journalism and have built great brands for themselves online, Ashley and Shri. So with that, I'd love to bring them both on and give them a chance to introduce themselves. Let's start with Ashley. Tell us about yourself and how you came to build such a great brand on social.
Yes, so I've been a journalist for the past 10 years. I went to Prairie View A&M University. I got my degree, my bachelor's degree in communications, and from there, my journey into journalism and this whole world started. I spent time as an on-air correspondent in Houston for 8 years, working for Fox, NBC, CBS, for multiple shows. My beat there was mainly focused on fashion and lifestyle and beauty. And I've been in LA for the past 2.5 years, and my beat has been entertainment focused. In terms of building my brand, I started building my brand, I guess, when we started to have Instagram. Instagram has been like, my bread and butter as it relates to building a portfolio and a brand for people to know who I am and what it is that I'm doing. So that's me.
Great. And Shri?
Thanks. Great to be here. And at Gregory is his own brand, not just Muckrack. So it's great to connect. And great to be here with Ashley as well. I've been a journalist for more than 25 years, old school journalist who started we started in print and moved to digital and now involved in television, video, etc. And I grew up in journalism at a time when the idea was that you just do your work. You do the reporting, you do the writing, and then the system will take care of everything for you. And don't worry. In fact, you don't need to know about anything else. Just do your work. Unfortunately, that world is over, as Greg indicated. And so I think it's so important for all of us to look at our own brands, build our brands, and make sure that we are able to take advantage of the opportunities that come up and also to survive all the problems that are affecting journalism today. I have been blessed to have a wonderful career, but I've also seen what used to be an elevator or an escalator of career paths have really become a roller coaster. And when I used to be the chief digital officer of the Metropolitan Museum, and when I lost my job, the fact that I had a terrific network to help me really saved my job, saved my career, and gave me so much of a chance, give me a chance to kind of bounce back from that. And so my message to everyone is to build your brand when you don't need it, build your network when you don't need it, and know that you have to put in the work now so that when you need to be able to take advantage of things that come your way, good and bad, you're able to do so.
What would you both say to well, journalists are skeptical people, that's their job. And what would you say to both the young journalists who probably grew up with social, but because of that might be a bit circumspect about being professional on it? I mean, and by that, I mean like creating permanent social media. I think a lot of younger people smartly are just wanting to put ephemeral content up there and only have their friends see it. So to the younger journalists who are maybe hesitant about putting themselves out there publicly in an archivable fashion, and also to the older journalists who say, hey, look, I built my career. Everybody in the industry knows who I am. I've got my job working at this prestigious publication. Why should I work overtime and spend time managing these social media profiles and putting up a personal website or doing whatever else it is to build my brand? I'll throw it to Ashley first, since Sri touched on it a little bit in his intro.
Sure. So given our current climate, it's important now more so than ever before to want to go ahead and start carving out your brand. And I like to call it the pie method, in which you figure out what it is that you're wanting to do. Sit down and write your notes. Scope out what it is that you wanting to do with building a brand. But it is important that you get started with building a brand. Don't wait. We see what's happened in 2020. This is the time now where we prepare if something like this ever happens again. You also want to identify your why in your planning. Why are you building this brand? Has your company laid you off? Are there opportunities that you want to explore that you weren't getting in that company? So you want to identify your why. You also want to identify what it is that you're trying to get out of it. Who's your audience? Who are you trying to reach? So you're wanting to plan, you're wanting to identify your audience, and then you're wanting to execute. So you have to go out there and make it happen as the journalist that you are. You're known for making it happen. And that's what you're going to do when you execute. You're going to go out, you're going to get quality photos, you're going to get quality videos, and you're going to execute them and put them out, and you're going to be persistent with it. And there you are, you built your brand. And then you just have to continue to repeat that system that you feel comfortable with and continue to put out the content for your audience that you've identified. But it's so important, like I said, more so now than ever before, to go ahead and carve out your pie method and identify and execute.
I think that the way I would approach this with those two cohorts that you mentioned, and by the way, as you know, it isn't just a factor of age; it's also a comfort level that different people have. I would make the point that now is the time for you to be able to build that brand and to think about what your brand is. A lot of people don't even know what that is. And there are many tools and social networks that can help you think about this. But what do you want to be known for? What do you want to do with your career? Where do you want to go? So the first step is knowing your own brand and where you fit in, and what are the things you want to be doing that can help you tell your story to the world.
Great. I think you both did a great job leading into what was going to be my next question, which is, what's the first step? You already laid that out. What's the why? What do you do? So my question is kind of, what's the next step? So you decide, okay, I'm the journalist. I want to be known for covering the oil and gas industry. I want to known to be covering the latest changes in big tech. You've thrown out a couple ideas like getting professional photos, Ashley, which is a great one. But what else is on the checklist? When someone comes to you and they say, okay, I'm ready to make my brand, I want to be known for this. What do I have to do to be the expert, to be known?
I would do an audit of your social media. Where are you on each of the on the big channels, especially on LinkedIn and on Twitter? I think way too many journalists are underappreciative of what LinkedIn can do for them. They think of it as a job hunting website instead of thinking of it as a career management site. And on Twitter, just look at what you're posting. What does your bio say? What are the things that what's your pinned tweet say about you? And another thing you can do is watch as someone either follows you for the first time, ask them to show you, or ask them to unfollow you and then follow you, and then you'll see who does Twitter suggest as other people to follow. That's one way to know if Twitter understands who you are. So, for example, you want to be in the oil and gas, oil and gas reporter, and everything it's showing, the other people it's suggesting are all bakers and chocolatiers. Maybe you've been posting too much about chocolate and cookies, so Twitter thinks Twitter thinks you're in that business. So that's one easy way to check that. I would also make sure that you have a very good Muckrack profile that's updated, and another way to just make sure that when people search for you, what do they find and how do people know who you are?
And Ashley, anything to add to the checklist?
I think Suri covered it. I will add, though, that if you are looking to join a specific you know, beat, right, if you will. You want to find out if that beat is something you really want to do. So you want to research it, figure out, you know, is this something that I really want to do? Take up the time, take up, you know, work, and, you know, maybe do it for free, but see if this is something that you're really interested in, because you want to, you know, work in beats or work on stories that are important to you, and you have a genuine love or a genuine interest in them. You don't want to be bored with it, because if you're bored with it, the passion isn't going to come out.
Great. And I want to talk specifically about some social networks. Sri already mentioned LinkedIn, and I want to get to Twitter in a moment, because we know that's the biggest one with journalists. And Sri, I know you're a Twitter maniac. But before I do, Ashley, I want to get into Instagram, because I know that one's really growing for journalists. You are at I am Ashley Dunn. Your Instagram page is awesome. I love how you branded your highlight reels and all that. Really looks professional. So, you know, probably most people listening, like, they have a link, they have an Instagram, but it doesn't look anything like yours. It's just their personal thing with some photos and some stories. How do you take your Instagram to the next level and really make it something that's professional, that makes you stand out, and makes you kind of a trusted journalist expert on the topic?
Yes. So with Instagram, it goes back to my pie method. You want to plan, identify, and execute, because you want to make sure that you know why you're wanting to, you know, build this new Instagram. Why do you want to even do it? And then the execution part is really key. It goes back to those clear, um, concise photos and videos. Your content is key. And you want to make sure the content that you're putting out is something that people will want to click, people will want to like, and people want to be interested in. So that's what I would say in terms of Instagram is, you know, or whatever social media platform that you're looking to join. But in terms of Instagram, you want to figure out the why, because it's so saturated with lots of journalists posting content daily, all the time. So a lot of that can also make you feel depleted, or feel like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not going to even go down that route. So you want to have your plan in place, identify your audience, and execute it with your content.
Great. And Shri, I think most journalists, similarly, they're probably on Twitter by this point, and they might even be tweeting once or twice a day. But where do you see the opportunities for people to take it to the next level, to do better on that platform?
I tell folks that if you think of Facebook and Instagram as kind of a way for you to show off your life, then think of Twitter and LinkedIn as a way to show off your expertise. By the way, Ashley does an amazing job of showing off her expertise on Instagram. So that's great that she's able to do that. But really think of, what will people know you for? What do you want to be known for? And it can be kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy or self-fulfilling thing. If you post on that content, that'll become what you're known for. So practice that. Start shifting the center of gravity from whatever it is. We go back to those cookie tweets, over to the oil and gas business, if that's what you want to do. That doesn't mean you can't have a personality, doesn't mean you can't post on other things. I spend between 6 to 10 minutes on everything I post online, because I know that something I post can get me fired today, something I post can get me divorced today, something I post can get me in trouble with my clients today. So I really think about everything I do. But that doesn't mean you can't have some fun and some personality in what you're posting.
Now, I think what a lot of people do is they put that time in, they set up a great social media profile, then they look at their followers and they get depressed. They see they just have a couple dozen or maybe a couple hundred, and then they look at some other journalist who's got millions or tens of thousands or even tens of thousands of followers, like both of you. And so how do you bridge that gap? I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. I know it's a lot of work, but what's your, I guess, both what's your encouragement for them to keep going even when they don't have a lot of followers, and what do they have to be doing day in and day out to close that gap?
I think you have to put in the work in order to have that impact, but don't feel discouraged. I always tell people that I'm much more interested in having influential people follow me than having just random people follow me. It's great to have lots of followers, but having influential followers is what really matters. Another way I put this is, it's not who follows you that matters, it's who follows who follows you that matters, meaning that I would much rather have Greg and Ashley follow me than having another 1,000 people follow me, because between the two of them, they are very influential in particular areas. And that's how I've approached my work, and not at all focused on just random followers. And that's one way to do it. And the other is to just stick to your plan and know that it takes time, and know that the algorithms may not always favor you. But if you have good content, and every week you can make sure one or two more influential people in your niche, whatever that is, follows you, if you build that, you'll be doing great.
Listen, persistence is key. I posted about that today. If persistence was a person, she would be me. You want to keep going, because at first, you probably will get one like, you probably will get 2 likes, 1 comment, and that can feel very depleting, as I've stated before. But you have to persist. Nevertheless, she persisted, he persisted, we persisted. You have to keep going. You have to make a schedule for, in terms of my influencer content, or even my work, my interviews. I scope out time on the weekend. I have a schedule in place. I make time to shoot. I make time to edit, so that when Monday comes, I have a schedule for the week of what I'm going to put out each day. So there isn't a day that goes by that there won't be any content put out, even if it's on your stories. You don't have to always be uploading on your regular page. You can utilize Reels now on Instagram. Utilize the stories page. Post something. Get the content out. Get people familiar with you, and that's how you start to build your.
And you don't have to have your own, sorry, I was going to say, you don't have to have your own original content every time. You can be a pointer to great stuff. So just point to other people's stuff, and that itself can help you get attention. It doesn't, in fact, it should not be always you. It should be about the topic, about your, again, showing off your expertise. And that if I follow you, I know I'm going to get lots of good content on that niche, then I'm going to be following you. And if you're just all over the place, or you're always trying to talk about yourself, then people won't be as interested.
And I want to know, like, what tools are you both using to do this? I mean, Ashley, I look at your Instagram page and I can see that you've got kind of branding and these labels to all your highlight reels. It sounds like you're probably going beyond some of the standard tools for that. And Shri, I know you're always ahead of the curve. So love to hear both of you just share what tools you're using.
Yes. So for me, I utilize Canva a lot. Just if I want to post something on my stories, or even if I want to update my resume or cover letter, if I'm sending something out, I utilize Canva. I utilize InShot if I want to edit like any of my interviews, cut them down, take something out. I utilize InShot for that. But Hootsuite is also really good, and I utilize that for scheduling out my week of content. So if you're looking for a tool in which you want to schedule it out, you're like, okay, this is a lot, but I want to make sure that I'm consistent, because again, persistence and consistency is key when you're building your brand. You want to utilize a tool or a site or an app like Hootsuite. But those are some of the top, tools that I use to put out my content.
Can I just say ditto and leave it at that? I can't emphasize the value of Canva enough. They have a terrific online, a phone version as well, and using things like Pic Collage. And I'm always recommending what I call thumb stoppers. Whenever you post a piece of content, make sure there's a photo, an image, a GIF, a map, a cartoon, something to go with it. And learning things like Adobe Spark Post. These are great ways in which you can have a piece of content with some writing on it if needed. Typorama is another great tool that lets you do those. But if you play with those, you'll find that you will be able to do a lot. And Hootsuite is also terrific. But the native tools, that's mostly what I'm doing on Twitter these days. But you can certainly learn to use these other ones and think about which makes sense for you.
Who are your branded journalist heroes? What other journalists you look to where you're like, oh, they're doing great work, and just make you want to step up your own games?
I'll make a pitch for 2 journalists who have done the shift that you mentioned, going and becoming their own brands, on starting their own newsletters and their publication, their companies, Casey Newton And someone Greg and I know very well, Mitra Kalita, who runs a big part of CNN Digital, has just announced publicly that she's leaving to do her own community media ventures. That requires, she's at Mitra Kalita, Mitrakalita. Follow her on Twitter to see how someone built a brand and then is now going to make use of that brand to run things that she believes in terms of community ventures. So those are just two great examples.
I'm going to go with my obvious favorites here, and that's Tamron Hall, the Tamron Hall Show, and Joy Reid from MSNBC. So those are my two picks that I've been following for quite some time, who have been an inspiration to me on my journey. So those are my favorites.
Amazing recommendations. And we're almost out of time here, so I want to let you both give your closing thoughts, and most importantly, since we're talking about branding, give you both a branding opportunity. We've got all of our at handles here, but talk about where people should follow you and what they should expect when they do follow you.
Oh, thank you for having us here. I'm so grateful to be here with ONA. I had the pleasure of being there at the founding of ONA 21 years ago, and seeing how far they've come is amazing. I'm available at Sri on Twitter and SriNet on Instagram, and SriNet is also my YouTube channel. And my email is still, in a TikTok world, email still matters. My email is sri@sri.net, SREE@SREE.net.
And yes, so you guys can follow me at I Am Ashley Dunn on my YouTube channel, on Twitter and Instagram. So basically, when you follow me, you will get me. You will get me motivating you, encouraging you to fight for your dreams, to keep going. You'll get amazing interviews from some of your favorite actors on your favorite shows right now. But most importantly, you will get me pushing you to go after your dreams, because that's what's important, is to fight for your dreams. Thank you guys again for having us. I thank you. So happy to be here.
Well, I follow both of you, and I can't wait to see what extra content you have. If anyone wants to look me up, I'm simply at Gregory on Twitter and Instagram. I just signed up really early to both of them, so I think always that's my one little tip. Just whenever you see a new social network pop up, sign up really early and try to get a cool name on it. And you can, of course, find Muckrack at muckrack.com or at Muckrack on any platform. I'd like to thank ONA for having us here, and also Media Bistro for hosting a earlier iteration of this. And as you can see, we've got mugs available everywhere. If anyone needs a mug, just hit me up on social and we'll get you some swag. Ashley, we'll make sure you're taken care of too. And thanks again to everybody for tuning in. And again, it's so great to be part of ONA. It's one of my favorite things to go to every year. And even though we can't be there IRL, I think this is the next best thing, and excited to watch more of the content.